the way, let's focus on the match we are gonna get. Virtus.pro will be going up against Ex Oblivione. They played a close match. Of course, I'm talking about Virtus.pro. Virtus.pro, they played a close match against a one-man army. Mostly Ram Brawl is what we saw. Sauna was in for basically all of it. Shockwave riding the bench, question mark?
Shockwave fans?
Yeah, Shockwave fans. Where you at? Make some noise in chat. But yeah, they also had a close bout versus SSG. So they played 2 great games yesterday. Back-to-back 5 mappers, Mitch.
Yeah, actually, that was the 6 mapper, the second one, because they drew on King's Row against Space Station. And I'm be real with you. Space Station are a little lucky that they got control for map number 6. They're definitely a better team there. I think they got a better feel for that. But man, I mean, Junkertown was extremely one-sided for VP. I mean, their road started up against a one-man army, which was like a game that was pretty compelling. Like we said, VP dragged that on out to 5 maps where they actually, looked quite good on Lijiang Tower, and then I don't know, they threw the game on Runa's RP. They just threw. I'm sorry, they were so far ahead, and yeah, they got snowballed out of existence by a one-man army. But yeah, bounced back pretty well. New Junk City was a 5-point flashpoint map in the end as well. These guys just wanted to play the maximum possible number of games. At the end of the day, I was just yapping. I was just straight yapping, bro. There was just so much going on.
Yeah, it felt like they're getting paid by the hour or by the minute. That's how far they dragged it out. Now, if we're looking at their opponents, though, Ex Oblivione, well, that was a quick one. They got swept by the Washington Hospice squad in a 3-0 fashion yesterday. And then they had the forfeited game against Super Shy. So, really, Kevin, we didn't learn an awful lot about this squad.
I know. I kind of wish they got to play against Super Shy, because that would have probably been a pretty good game. But we're in a position now where VP is going to be a tough opponent, even without Shockwave, even in a new meta. VP might have lost to Space Station, but they still look like one of the top 3 teams at this tournament. I mean, one-man army is definitely trying to push the envelope there as well. But Ex Oblivion, I think they're going to be going up a bit of an uphill battle versus VP today, so it'll be a big challenge.
Quite the uphill battle indeed. Let's take a look at what the community thinks. Ooh, ouch. Yeah. You didn't have to do them like that. But honestly, I mean, VP, they are looking like one of our top echelon squads here in the EMEA region. They showed that they can hang with the best. They're pushing the big names like SSG and ENS to the limits. So they are one of the favorites in this entire tournament, not just in this very series. It's going to be a tough one for Ex Oblivione. Let's see how much they can get done in our first match of the day. Mitch, Kevin, take it away.
Thank you very much. So yeah, let's waste no time. Let's jump into this game and let's see if our teams are ready to show us a little bit of fireworks. Kev, Virtus.pro, again, in theory, you feel like the meta breaks pretty well for them, especially in terms as it allows, Rajaro to be on tanks that are familiar to them. But it was actually in the Ramatra style that SSG beat them at the end of that series. So I think both of those teams are still a little bit shaky, still finding their feet. And we don't even know. We didn't see that ENS Washington Hospice game. So that's a whole different story. But coming in here to this series, we see a lot of maps that we've already had these teams look to select previously. Obviously, Virtus.pro's best maps were New Queen Street and Junkertown by far in their game up against a Space Station. You do not see them in this series, but again, they got the quality. Ex Oblivione are definitely the underdog by a long margin.
VP have to be honest, every team in this kind of top 4, top 5, even for EMEA, it's a huge shakeup. We're on a new sort of patch, obviously, with the the hotfix changes. We're going to be on another new patch next week as well. So this tournament will be done and dusted by then. We'll see what happens to D.Va. But for now, that's a really strong character that really fits into, I think, a lot of these teams' playstyles. Not amazing for Hardy on SSG, but really good for Solo and ENS. Really good for Rajaro here on VP as well. So even without TM in this tournament, I think this EMEA bracket is looking very, very competitive, and Ex Oblivione are going to have to really step up to be able to face the challenge there, because it's VP looking like one of the best out there.
No doubt about it. And this is obviously Ex Oblivione advancing in the lower bracket due to a forfeit. So this will be a big challenge for them. And none of them have been easy. I mean, Washington Hospice also really took them to task here. And we saw them also make a decent run through that uppers before bowing out of the tournament entirely. So away we go here. Wrecking Ball for Ex Oblivione. Aliseo on that one. We do have a Juno for both sides. Farah picked up as well for both teams.
I think it's a good look for Ex Oblivione because you want Lauren on that pick. It's one of his signatures. Sauna as well, though. That is the signature hero for Sauna. Aside from all the other heroes that he has been playing, Sauna, to me, was one of the top performers in yesterday's game. So that Farah battle is going to be pivotal.
Mercy here for Ange. Obviously, the Farah and the Wrecking Ball both kind of opening up an opportunity to make use of that hero. Let's see if it's enough. But now Ange is a big chillin' over towards the point here, getting Lauren in position to try and take this fight. And Alisei has done fairly well being self-sufficient for the time being. Forced in by a conk is Lauren, but also sees that Tracer lingering towards the bridge and wants to put pressure down on Cloud. Still, no shine of Shockwave yet today. Virtus.pro have made decent inroads without them regardless. It's going to be Rajaro being forced to fall back to the point as VP get an early cap.
Yeah, there's no main for Cloud as well, so it's another change up for VP to just change their comp slightly, but they had the Diva. Ex Oblivione don't. I think that's going to give VP a bit of an advantage here. They already take that first fight control. Ange goes down now, and EXO, they're routed.
Now again, Ange also susceptible in much the same way that Juno is to being pressured down. Is getting caught out in midair is not ideal. Also, Orbital Ray already available here for Gala, doing a lot of work in that fight because there's just so much general poke damage or just, you know, incidental chip that comes from the Wrecking Ball, that comes from the Pharah, even the Tracer to some degree. So plenty of healing to be done. Virtus.pro not losing any players here. Ange under pressure. The micro rockets connect, and that corpse will float slowly down to the holographic fishies.
Yeah, they're not even going to have to really ult for this. Rajaro's not going to do anything with the self-destruct there. So that's going to be one ultimate Virtus.pro was going to save, but is it going to cost him here because they need their Diva alive?
Okay, well, still point ticking up here. Aliseo at least sure has a minefield over on the point here. Orbital Ray finally gets used. Ange returns in a position to res Gucci, but Canale gonna fall for Virtus.pro instead. So a big number swing for Ex Oblivione here. Still need to make this cap happen. It will be dragged out somewhat by Cloud. And also Rajaro did return to the fray, albeit at an inopportune moment.
Yeah, I don't know if he fell off the map there or something. If he did, that would make sense. But if he didn't fall off the map, then he should have gone for the self-destruct. Staying alive would have been super important there. Gala also had a huge, as you noted, orbital ray advantage over Zerion, but didn't get to really play that for VP, so ended up equaling out for both sides, and extra player advantage there for EXO. Ended up coming in pretty large. Let's see if they can take Ange down again. Very susceptible for the torpedoes, by the way, so Gala needs to be locking onto Ange every time.
I do think Rajaro fell off the map by some mechanism, by the way, because there was no mech elimination sort of kill feed. And also Zerion found it quite funny, so I'm going to use my deductive reasoning to indicate that. Regardless, Ex Oblivione up to 30% here, still playing mostly around the bridge with that Pharah Mercy composition. Cloud sees an opportunity to get some decent mid-range damage there. Lauren is definitely having a tough time. Aren't very busy now, at least with Valkyrie available to replenish the numbers should there be an early pick for VP, but they just shove Ex Oblivione off the point.
I like the Echo pick here from Sauna as well. He actually went back to spawn as we saw that. Traded off the fire for the Echo. You can sort of comfortably 1v2 pharmacy combination and just take down Ange. If you're lucky, the Valkyrie pop to save Ange's life.
Now that extra mobility, much needed for Ange in that moment. The focusing beam would have claimed them otherwise. Someone has to be happy enough with that because Ange hasn't had an opportunity to make use of that, like, that insta-free resurrect here. Ticky bombs on Aliseo, obviously. Echo, a good option against the Wrecking Ball with that ramping damage, but Sauna's not ready to be accosted by Gucci, who's able to flank them. Pharah is picked up though, and another orbital ray in play. Ex Oblivione needs some staying power here on the point, because right now it's just Gucci keeping them there. Great stick though, Gucci doing a heck of a lot of work. Getting involved in that Pharah kill as well. Zerion has fallen. Just the mercy for heals now for Ex Oblivione, and Gucci benefiting from some of it there in that second. But no Valkyrie available for a pivotal moment in this fight.
And Gala's still alive. He went down to 1 HP, managed to get a mega pack there, so VP still have healing. Canal's going to come back now, and they have full flying power. They have full force of all five. Gucci down, 5v4, no touch. They have a ball as well. And it just seemed like Alisu just wasn't able to get there in time. Look, I mean, dies anyway, so even if he gets a touch on the ball, probably isn't going to go their way. But importantly, Gala surviving there for VP is everything for that round. And there was a pretty tight moment as well when Gala had, what I think was a 3 to 4% lead over Zerion on the orbital raid charge. And that was a pretty reasonable advantage because it looked like they were winning that fight, but they couldn't quite get enough advantage. They had that one pick. It was a 1-to-1 trade, I think 4v4 at the time as well. Then Zerion comes back with his own orbital raid to give EXO the shot, but it ends up being the fact that Gala stays alive, the respawns coming through with VP, and then obviously the no touch at the end with the Gucci death.
Yeah, might also have something to do with the fact that EXO's comp literally can't group on point. They can only like stall with one player at a time, so as soon as VP move up in numbers and just stand there, eventually EXO have to let it flip back and hope to use that space to poke down. Anyway, we're back. Control center now coming up for our second round here. This time a Bastion front line for Ex Oblivione alongside that Orisa. Definitely going to be a lot of threat on Rajaro here. Gala obviously has to pop those torpedoes off at every opportunity, but it is very, very hard to keep your front line hale and hardy under these circumstances. And Rajaro went deep to try and find a kill there. He's punished.
A really nice opening wall from Gucci, so really coming up now for EXO to give them that advantage, and a totally different look for EXO. I don't think we really saw this out of them yesterday. I mean, we only got the 3 maps, and this composition was not among them. It's a very different look indeed, and Orisa not something we see really across the board as far as Juno is concerned. I think I've seen Bernard pull this out a couple times with Zeta Division in Korea, but everyone else has just been playing only D.Va and Rams, so EXO is going to be at least in the lead for now off the nice wall.
This comp has the same susceptibilities as the Mauga composition up against Pharah, but I mean, getting value from your Pharah really requires you to be in control of the point on this map. Otherwise, it's a really marginal edge.
I think you need to look for a potential swap here or something. You got to do something about this Bastion. The Ana's already there for Canal, so you're starting to look for a little bit more advantage. Sort of just survive against this thing. But another pick from Gucci is going to make things so difficult. I mean, EXO's now serious in the lead in all regards. Canale's obviously far behind because the swap guard is behind Zerion, but he's caught up now. It's going to be hard for someone to find this barrage play as well. There's so many things that can just sort of stop that. Watch for the spear from LSU as well. That could just instantly stop your barrage.
Big 80 damage from that Javelin at the moment. It sort of gets blown to smithereens. Yes, Orisa has been tweaked a little bit to make a hit to that much harder. Terra Surge, though, still as strong as it's always been. Rajaro at least is able to step out of it here. An orbital ray does get deployed. Virtus.pro see an opportunity here where Ex Oblivione overextended. So Annihilation gobbles up Gucci, and VP are back on the point.
This will give Sauna a good opportunity to play through as well. I think it's really difficult and kind of annoying to retake as far on control Cinder. You have to typically play coast a lot. But now they have control. They get to sort of do their own spawn camping. They get to play their own May walls. It's probably going to be a little bit more difficult for them to do that, though, because the Lauren has a bash, but huge anti-nade, though.
And that's just poke. I mean, that was like Vortex from Rajaro, a little bit of damage there, and then Canale, yeah, just lobbing in a bio-nade from long range. Huge pick-off, though. Can't overstate that. Getting a May before they have a chance to ice block is just chef's kiss. Then with Lauren being picked up, this front line is buckling from EXO.
I mean, that's what happened to Cloud multiple times, right? I mean, Gucci's been able to get their first pick on the Cloud, I think, twice so far on this control center, so a little bit of payback. Now, EXO are the ones that are a little bit behind. Artillery Strike is not going to be the best ultimate to play through here. That's the sad part about playing the Bastion.
Okay, Nano for Rajaro definitely doesn't hurt, but even a Nano Ramatra struggles with this damage from the Bastion, so he at least withstands that alpha burst of damage. Here comes the Mortal Strike. Nobody from VP really affected by that, but Rajaro wants to back up. Needs to wait for those cooldowns here. Another Nemesis form. Wouldn't go astray as he builds towards another Annihilation. EXO want to push up. They have an orbital ray available here. They're taking a bunch of damage. They need it now. The May wall will break, allows them to move up with this ray. They are in step with it. Rajaro is fighting on the back foot in a big way. The ray now out from Virtus.pro, and all of a sudden the tides have turned. Huge amounts of healing being beamed down to VP, and they're ready to push up with a barrage and a blizzard. This round is going to be a tough one for EXO.
It's super tough as well for VP to have lost that point. I mean, it's really difficult for EXO given that they lost the fight, but they did get the cap. At least it's going to slow things down. Gala, I think, was about 2% off from getting the ultimate in time to sort of counter Zerion, so they had to back up really far. Rajaro nearly dies there. Didn't quite see Sauna on a bit of an angle to find a sneaky barrage, so he was mostly just kind of frontlining or playing front to back with the rest of his team. Now they're in a good spot again. Raj's ultimate.
Maywall there. Rajaro is able to get back behind it. Oh, but he spends too long exposed to the Bastion's cannon. Nice wall in the end from Gucci. Just buys him a couple extra seconds to deal with the Ramatra. Sound barrier comes out there. Anj, that was that was so brazen from Anj. Barrage coming in and still goes for the beat. My God. Ex Oblivione able to hold on here and have a chance to force a final 99-99 fight.
I mean, that was really close, even with Rajdal. Consider it was a 5v4. And the fact that Sauna trades 1-to-1 with the barrage in a situation where you're up against Sound Barrier, that is kind of getting away with the murder there. So slowing things down considerably for EXO. It will be 99-99. Cloud lucky to not die. Oh no, he's gone. Oh my goodness, you can't have that.
I mean, it's Canale's positioning. Like, he can't see any of his team. He can't give that healing up against the poke they're dealing with. Trying to find an off angle, I think, for a big bio-nade. But it's worked against him. And Canale just got put in the blender. Terra Surge slurps him up. Now the Annihilation from Rajaro. He tries to run to the point. Look, it's a very strong ability, folks. Don't get me wrong. Not that good, though. Rajaro eventually has to go in a Nemesis form here. Orbital Ray would be a problem for anybody now who's facing that Orisa down. An ice block for Cloud means he can't be touching. Okay, VP. Ex Oblivione, fight back just when it matters.
Yeah, I think maybe VP were caught off guard a little bit by the Orisa comp coming on through with the, the Bastion as well.
Look
and
at this.
This is the Iron Sound. 62. He could have Ajax. 22 even. I think he went down as low as 7 there. I mean, I respect the play because you could get wiped there. If you do Ajax, it would have looked very silly, but the fact that he gets the beat off means his team wins that fight, because I can see a scenario where he doesn't get the beat off, or he doesn't go for the beat at all. Sauna actually does get a successful barrage, and VP then swing that fight. So if VP swing the fight, this map is over. I think VP actually just clean it up, and we go to map 2 now, but Exo saved the day with that play, so I respect it out of Ange, honestly.
The line between hero and clown is just so thin in a moment like that. You know, just throws a beat down. It's so nasty.
That's the Lucio life. That's actually just how it is so many times. I mean,
it can be hero to zero and back to
I'm telling you, if Violet's a goat and a fraud at the same time, this is the life of Lucio.
All right, Sauna there. Nice conk. Yep, Gucci was asking for that one. Playing close to the edge of the map, and another super high value kill on EMEA. Otherwise, very hard to do. But Sauna's not ready for Lauren to just explode out of that side room and blows Farah up.
That's 1-1. And another Byron, and these Byron from Kaneo are really on point. He was the MVP for me yesterday when Exo, or rather VP, were playing. That just gives Rajaro the opportunity to fly around onto Lauren. This is what I wanted to see on the last map as well. Get Rajaro back on this D.Va, put a little bit more pressure on that Bastion.
Rajaro there for a moment had eyes only for Zerion, then sees an opportunity to come and peel for Cloud. Maybe look for a bump off environmental pressure here coming from this D.Va mech. So Ex Oblivione only forced away for a time. The poke damage is pretty good here for Farah, because obviously these long sidelines allow her to do this kind of thing without being pressured whatsoever. And Exo don't have a great comp now to deal with this Farah, considering the map doesn't have a roof.
The other thing is like, you don't have a lot of peel against this D.Va flying in. I mean, Ange almost has to consider going towards Brig now, because you're just going up against Rajaro, who's constantly flying in.
And it feels awful to play that against the Farah, though. God, every time that happens to me, I'm just like, wow, this is actually terrible.
Yeah, they're full swap their comp now. This is now a Winston composition. We saw Exo play just a little bit yesterday as well. Lauren over towards the Echo to try and counter things out versus Sauna.
Okay, Empo there he goes in. Good beat from Ange this time, but Sauna has the barrage. Able to burst through that Winston overshield and health pretty quickly. And that basically takes all the wind out of Exo's sails. I would say that Orbital Ray helped to a degree. At least Exo have that ultimate available in the next fight, whereas VP do not.
Orbital Ray just lasts longer. VP survived that comfortably. It's up to Lauren to be able to push shut down Sauna, and it just wasn't able to happen in that particular fight. This is definitely going to be an Orbital Ray fight for Zerion and Exo, but is it going to be enough? Because Nano D.Va is going to be super strong, and they use the speed ring very early as well. Just for rotation.
Ange is topped up. Definitely going to have to be a Ray right here. Ex Oblivione popped that one up pretty quickly. Damage boost here is going to be pretty considerable. VP have to respect it. Rajaro here with their Nano now fighting very much within the eye of the storm. Has to double back. Good defense matrix there for Cloud. That's going to give them a bit of space. Blizzard also deployed for just that effect. And Alessio gets caught out by it. Sauna able to at least make it a 4 versus 4. Now with Lauren forced out of the fight. This is bad news for Ex Oblivione. He sort of spotted someone playing close to the edge. Thought about a conk play. No, it'll be a blink, of course. He gets Gucci back in the fight. Pulse Bomb, they're at 1 HP. They drop it down. Canal actually eats that one up somehow. Sauna at least trades it, though. And VP have flipped the point. Once more, Exo are going to be running to try and get the touch here. And it's going to be Alessio first up to the plate. Rajaro has a mech refresh available here. But we've a duped mech for Lauren, obviously, on that Echo. Self-destruct, and you can see desperately as Alessio wants to get that baby D.Va, and he does! It's going to be Zerion that prevents Rajaro from getting back into the mech, and now Ex Oblivione have a real shot in this fight.
Yeah, he's on the Primal here as well. That's what he needed. Now he can fight up against Orbital Ray. Obviously can't let him go of this point, so it's up to Alessio. He has to be the one carrying him. There's no support stuff, Exo.
Gala looked like they'd be heading over the edge of the map there, but they were able to find that kill on Ange instead. And Sauna comes back in with that barrage. It'll be VP to flip back and take Lijiang Tower. All right, we've seen a couple of those interactions here with Orbital Ray that make us see how powerful it was. Did you see how quickly Alessio died with full sound barrier overshield to like a damage boosted barrage from Sauna?
I was talking to Johnny on stream about this yesterday. It's like, when you look at the stats on Orbital Ray, forget the healing. The healing is 100 HP per second is really good. But you remember, everyone should remember Bongo from Orisa in Overwatch 1. That was a 50% damage boost to your team. This is a 35% damage boost to your team. It's still like really good. That's nearly 2/3 as good, right? As whatever maths to the Bongo that we used to have. So you can't underestimate how strong Orbital Ray is. That humongous 5-man damage boost is insane.
Yeah, it's the combination, like I guess, of both, right? It's just it's a very big numbers ultimate that really turns the fight. And people, I guess, don't think too much about damage boost now because, we do see Mercy. We're seeing it here, of course, from Ange, and it doesn't go well. But again, because she's less commonly picked up, I think, your breakpoints are... People are less aware of the breakpoints, I guess, and they maybe don't have a feel for what it feels like for large ultimates with that damage boost behind them. So inside the orbital ray, and definitely in fights where there are 2 orbital rays in play, the damage boost easily supersedes the healing increase that you receive, and then the fight becomes very volatile very quickly.
I also think the Season 9 hitbox changes or the projectile size changes helps in that regard as well. Like if you're going to get a team-wide 35% damage boost and you got larger projectiles compared to what we're used to, Overwatch past, that's just going to make a huge difference. Yeah, Orange play still just comes to mind. I mean, that again was a real game saver for them, but unfortunately, what we're looking at here for the final round just wasn't nearly as comfortable. The Orisa is not nearly as good on this map compared to the control center, right? I think the Orisa was a good look with the Bastion, kind of just caught VP off guard, but VP also getting a bit of time to think about, okay, what went wrong there? What can we change here? Maybe we go back towards the D.Va. I think the D.Va ended up being a better look. You just see how fast Rajaro is able to get on top of that Bastion, and that to me is a huge level difference in terms of, is Lauren going to get the output, or is he just going to die to this D.Va every single time because D.Va just doesn't care what you do? Like, you get a D.Va through a ring, she's on to you straight away so quickly, and there's not much you can do about it. Especially if you're playing Lucio Juno, which I think is not the right support combination at all.
Yeah, not necessarily. We saw, of course, that the Ramatra frontline struggled against the Bastion, right? Which makes sense. There's a ton of, high damage, definitely in the front line when you're going up against the Orisa comp as well. The Mei walls are a big problem. Means it does mean that your Ramatra has to stand in front of the Bastion for sometimes 1 to 2 seconds longer. And so even though it doesn't fully trap him, just giving your Bastion that extra time to isolate down one of those targets, especially the Ramatra is pretty big. So we saw that was difficult to play around for Virtus.pro on Control Center, which is fair enough because it features some more of those tropes. But once Sauna gets to play a little bit higher off the ground, gets to be well and truly out of that Bastion's effective range in general, it's like what Mei can right-click you and try and press you down, but outside of that, you're pretty self-sufficient. You're not suffering a lot of threat. You can get a ton of poke damage, and then you have this barrage that doesn't even care about sound barrier when you've got, a damage boost with it.
To EXO's credit, I'll tell you what, if we get into a brawl matchup again, if it's going to be these kind of like ground-based Ram versus Ram, or in this case, potentially Ram versus Orisa, you look back over towards the Bastion, that could still be a winning matchup. You just don't want to do it on a map that's going to be really good for both Pharah and D.Va at the same time. So that's maybe the difficulty. But beyond that, I think Gucci on EXO has been super impressive on that first map so far. Like every single round that we saw, all 3 of them, on the Mei, on the Tracer. But you remember the Mei on that second round control center, he was able to just get these first picks onto Cloud, get these really impactful ice walls as well. Extremely good stuff. And then some magic on the Tracer, super pressured out, one man touching and still lands a pulse bomb canal. Man, that's incredible.
Yeah, and that was the whole round where basically Gucci's job is very hard because they have a Wrecking Ball comp with the Fire Mercy, so the Tracer has to touch. The Tracer also has to cap. Forces Gucci in some situations where, they have to fight 1vx on occasion. So it was good looks. Now, of course, going back to a Orisa composition here still for Ex Oblivione. They do have an answer for something like a Pharah or Echo in the Ashe here. In general, it's a pretty scary front line with pick potential, catch potential with that Mei wall. So VP are cooking here. We've seen them obviously go with the Illari on defense on this map at times. It's not exactly the most tried and true setup, but one that's unique to them. On the attack, though, I don't know about the ball here. Yeah, it's just terrible.
Nah,
map for Wrecking Ball.
Unless you got Chasm on your team, or unless you got some actual true ball one tricks, it's not going to work for you. I'm afraid there's you're not Crazy Raccoon. There's no Jimbins in the lobby here, so I might just have to swap off that ball for everybody. But EXO playing a little bit more of a standard comp now, just trading out the Ram for the Orisa, which I think has actually been pretty unique and good for them. So don't mind that one. And the Ashe is going to be safer. Now Orange over towards the Brig as well, which, as I mentioned, more standard than Lucio.
Sort of hitting headshots, but that's armor on the Orisa. Very, very hard to break through. Plus that damage fall off means that VP want to close a little bit more. Huge damage on Sauna and Cloud there earlier. Aliseo seems absolutely unbothered right now. And Lauren's playing a pretty safe corner here, just staying towards the back of the map. But look, there's the speedy D.Va that comes in. Oh my goodness, Rajaro hit the mark pretty quickly. Now can be annoying and play from this high ground while the cap begins.
And Laura's the prime target as well, so you have to protect your Ashe. That's the guy that Rajaro wants, the easiest target to run down through the speed ring. So on a good angle here, really nice angle for an attacking side.
Essentially flip the map here, has Sauna almost 2 ticks coming up now for Virtus.pro. Sauna in a spot where he can do a lot of work, but he does need to hit these shots. Gucci low, perpetually doesn't have an ice block available this time, and Rajaro knew it. I think that's why they run them down, but aren't just able to get the trade. No tank up for VP here, but okay, Zerion's able to touch.
Alice got ult.
It's going to be healing here for the Mei. It's going to be Sauna picked off by Lauren, okay? Yeah, Orbital Ray comes through pretty quickly. Another quick build up there for Gala. And that will give Virtus.pro the edge they need.
That's just tempo is so good there. 18% Gala was. Zerion not even in anywhere close to being able to challenge that. Speaking of challenging, okay, I think the Orisa is pretty solid, but the problem is once Sauna gets on that backside and gets the high ground, I mean, you talked about it, flip the map. Nothing on EXO challenges that. You don't have a diver. You don't have anybody that can quickly get up there. So Sauna is just unchallenged. You're playing an Orisa. Orisa can't fly through a ring to challenge that Ashe at all. So LSU's going to change now over to the Winston. But there's no Ana on his team. Both supports are close to ult, so you might want to see the swap a little bit later on. Ange going Ana.
Rajari gets the nano here. Oh, spots the Juno. There's no way Zerion's getting away. He just doesn't have that level of mobility. And the Blizzard on Aliseo couldn't be much worse here for Ex Oblivione. And a couple of ultimates here expended for Virtus.pro, sure enough. But pretty cheaply one fight when you consider how hard it can be for defenders to win from this position.
And that should be a winning fight for EXO as well, because Zerion has the, saved, retained orbital ray from the last fight. So be careful, because if Gala was still alive here, he might have been able to lap a decent bomb coming on through.
Yeah, the rally comes out in response here. Ange definitely concerned about Sauna picking them off while they're sat in midair. So the Bubby's removed. Orbital ray drawn out of EXO, as well as their rally. And Virtus.pro can just back up, regroup, and play from this low ground again.
It's double support also. That's so expensive for EXO. And the Barb, I believe, from Lauren. So Virtus.pro come away economically super favorably. And Paylo's still in a good spot as well. More pressure on the Lauren. At least he'll be able to get out. So no nano boost. I don't know if he went through a ring as well for Rajaro. But now there's a huge gap with VP. Looking for Gala's ultimate. Looking for orbital ray. And once that comes through, it's going to be pretty tough for EXO. They don't have a lot to defend against it.
Aliseo is so low. You saw Zerion trying to heal them up, but obviously Juno's shots tend to spread quite a lot at that range. She needs to be a little closer in general.
Gucci?
This is...
don't know about that one.
There was some venom in this one. Yeah, maybe
it's a waste.
There's some hidden lore I'm not aware of after that one, because that was inexplicable. Fair enough. Blizzard there doesn't quite connect, though. Gucci eventually able to find Sauna. It's going to be Rajaro heading up to the high ground here, and Primal Rage is in effect for Aliseo. And here it is, the often used Winston counter. It's going to be a switch for a moment at least over towards the Reaper, but Sauna thinks better of it. Still wants to have that Tracer to pressure someone like Lauren down. Probably a good idea. Scrappy fight here, but on their own, Gala cannot push the car any further.
I mean, we have definitely seen, Tracers and other players move over towards the Reaper just to deal with the Winston, but again, I don't agree with you here. I do agree with you in saying that probably not required for now, as EXO changed their comp again. Now they don't even have a Juno at all, as they're really struggling to get any ultimates. Paylo's nearly at the finish line here as well.
Yeah, switch over towards the Kiriko, probably just to get them there for the fight. Suzu can be pretty handy in a situation like this, but Lauren is such a good angle. Yeah, virtually no pressure down, can also just, take up Canale's time. Tax the bandwidth a little bit of the back line of Virtus.pro. Nano boost available there, but Rajaro probably not in position to receive it. And definitely no follow-up there for it anyway, so it's another VP lost fight. They're going to have to back on this, and they probably need to clear this Ashe position before they get serious about pushing the card again.
Well, they have been banking ultimate, so they're not in a bad spot there. Zerion has caught up a lot. I mean, that's a fresh swap, mind you, so he might have retained a little bit of ult charge from Juno, but he's done a lot on this Kiriko so far to find Kitsuna Rush, and that could be a really good pick, especially now in terms of killing Sauna just out of nowhere. There's just been too many times, and we've seen this on Lijiang as well, with VP just randomly have somebody die, Gucci drops the question mark here, and now VP just, that's tempo lost, huge tempo lost.
I think that was for Sauna. I think Sauna just died to a Kiriko right click, as Zerion's credited with a headshot kill. Happens sometimes. For Trace players, happens more often than they care to admit. If you stand still for just that half a second too long, Kiriko will have you. Even though her headshot multiplier now is down to 2. It started at 3, remember. She's had a 3x headshot multiplier. It's now down all the way to 2, which does more base damage than she did before. That's what balances it out a little bit. Here's Sauna now. Saw the main ice block comes out from Gucci, makes him pretty vulnerable there. I'm going to throw a Blizzard down. The Cloud gets one off first. It's Gucci frozen solid, and here's that orbital ray to get them across the line now. Bob also going to be thrown out by Lauren. Trying to make a little bit of space here, but the Ashe eventually falls. Rajaro and Sauna able to combine to take her out of the fight, and Aliseo had no chance to get back into the mech there, but finds a freebie on Cloud. Somehow the self-destruct kill affects the main. Clearly no ice block available for them. Rajaro loses mech, but probably worth it at this point. Still needs to see Gucci removed from this fight. The Symmetra coming back out as EXO switching to whatever they can to try and keep this still going, and by God, it might work. Rajaro gets back in the mech. Cloud back on the Soldier, 76 here. The legs trying to get Virtus.pro in this fight. Aliseo getting back into the fight long enough to stall things out is going to put us almost in overtime. By the time VP are in a position to end, they might not even be there. Zerion falling, though, is going to be tough for the defenders now. This gets a bit scary. Aliseo out of mech once more, finally brought down, and baby Diva Form and VP do get the job done.
That was a messy fight. I mean, Rajaro living there was probably to Exo's misfortune a little bit. They needed to focus down their baby Diva. The fact that Rajaro was able to just get the remake, I think he got credited with a kill onto Zerion, booped off the map, but might have actually boosted his ult charge back over towards the mech somewhat as well, but that was huge. But as we go into see, another early pick. VP continually just losing people off the top.
Yeah, Lauren really starting to come into their own after the last couple of minutes. Found some great little flanking positions up on the high ground to make it hard for VP to cap it all. This stack is another Zerion kunai kill, by the way. You've got to get in the chat with the question marks there, absolutely. If it happens once,
it's just gonna happen. It's too many times in a row. I'm not even just talking about this map. You look at Lee Jung as well. Cloud just dying over and over 3 times first pick, and VP cannot. I mean, they're on paper the better team here, but this is, to them, way too close of a game. And they're at risk of not actually capping and finishing the map. And that's considering the Exo are now playing off meta, you know. They're not playing Juno. We discussed that already. But Katuno Rush has been pretty decent. Still a very good ultimate. And Zerion's been more than keeping up with Gala in terms of ultimates. Yeah, VP have a big round of ultimates, so this is going to be the push. This has to be the push. And once Gucci gets Blizzard, it might be problematic for VP.
Great timing from Exo. They want to go first here. Orbital Ray at risk of getting ahead of Virtus.pro as they're pushed back by that early aggression from Exo. But eventually Exo will try and convalesce a little bit more on their side of the map. Self-destruct there, of course. Aliseo fancies another mech, and Rajaro dives in. It's a rally immediately going to be drawn out of Ange there. Nano Boost now expires on Virtus.pro's tank, and it's going to be a bob thrown out by Lauren. Good Bionade here on Aliseo as Canal had switched over towards the Ana, but Rajaro is caught in a rock in a hard place. And they can't remech because of the bob behind them. They do get the bob eventually, but that's it. Virtus.pro are going to crumble here. They've entirely run out of time. Gala can try and touch for a second, but Aliseo will quickly swat them aside and stop Virtus.pro in the last phase of the map.
Yeah, Cloud didn't even get to use his Blizzard towards the end there, and Gucci was just so patient waiting to use the Blizzard. Didn't even use it until Rajaro died, so 0 risk of having it being eaten away, which would have been really critical. But the bob, I think, was the coup de grace there that Exo needed, just straight into the back line, having the off angle towards Diva. Rajaro not being able to remake because of that is absolutely gigantic, and the fact that VP never could try and get this Blizzard out of Gucci in the first place was truly problematic. I think they had a small window to try and get a clean fight in there where they had somewhat superior ultimates, but you know, once Gucci and Lauren got their ultimates together, it was basically over there. Respawn advantage, it's OT for VP as well. The payload isn't pushed up nearly enough, and a lot of this to me just comes back down to how messy the B offense was for Virtus.pro, because A was pretty clean, man. They got there pretty quickly. Sauna on towards the, you know, defender-sided high ground, can't really be attacked by anything, and then suddenly you're looking towards LSU, looking at the Orisa, not able to do too much, swapping over towards the Winston, and still being pretty average. I still think you need the Ana to pair with the Winston to make it worthwhile. You're still seeing teams even in Korea play Brig Ana with that Winston if you do want to play the Winston, although the Juno is probably fine. I think for Exo, once they move back over towards the Diva for LSU and just matching Rajaro, that was when things started to look a lot better for the team, and, you know, I was curious about the Zerion pick for the Kiriko, and that ended up being good as well.
Absolutely. I thought it was really just to try and get to the cart and stall out, you know, with a swift step, get back in the fight quickly, but they stuck to it, and it looked pretty darn good. Let's have a listen into Ex Oblivione now as they come out on their offense.
How cool it would look on stream if you get a pick right now.
Bro, you're not peeking! Oh,
my God.
They know.
Oh my God. Yeah. Avenger, why did you tell them?
Avenger, what the fuck?
Focus up, focus up.
Walk up, breathe. I'll be playing on the right side, okay?
I'm gonna work, guys. I'm gonna work.
As low. As one. Oh my God.
Diva.
No one. No wall.
There is two. We can walk up.
Yeah. May out.
Oh.
Diva low.
Diva low.
Break one.
Diva low.
Ash one. On bird. I'm picking from the Diva me. Oh, I've got poop in.
I'm coming. I'm with you, baby.
At the wall. Yeah, when it's chill.
Just heal up.
Oh no. He's good. I have that young, guys.
I'm taking from right, come on.
Peek from right.
You on me, Diva trolling on me.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Walk.
Play burning.
May one. Oh, I'm moved. Fuck. GG go next.
Winnable.
Wait, flank.
Diva left. The walk.
Come with D-Mac, maybe.
Oh, I'm going Winston here. Let's just play to pull them.
I'm close rally already, guys.
Yeah.
There you go. It's funny, right? Sometimes we think so differently about the game to some of these pro players here, or these guys looking to ascend to professionalism. Let's say as soon as there's a DMEC, someone's like, GG, go next. That's just how important that DMEC is, Avril.
I mean, you just look at the start there. I think the vibes are really good on this team so far, so they're having a lot of fun. It's a one-to-one trade here, so that's actually pretty positive for EXO. They have the better respawn advantage, and they have ultimates coming online pretty quickly.
At least that pick's going to force out some ultimates here. Gucci down, so it's going to struggle to get out of the clock tower there. Looks like their 11th hour came a little too early. Gala will be able to push up here and chase down. The stagger on Lauren here would be good. It's worth pointing out that obviously the staggers are a little less effective here just because now of the spawn waves, but Lauren actually starts a new wave of spawns, so they are properly staggered on that timing.
And not only is it a new wave of spawns, but if you are solo staggered, you get the full respawn length, which I think is longer than it was before as well. So I believe it's 12 seconds. I could be wrong on that one, but I do know that if you don't catch a wave with somebody else and you're solo spawning, it does take you longer. So that is probably the most brutal stagger you can get, the solo stagger.
Yeah, I think if it's like a second earlier, Lauren might join the spawn wave of the rest of their teammates. Either way, couple of seconds board, those margins though can make a big difference at this level of play.
She's frozen!
From Cloud, thrown down. Yeah, Gucci never had a chance to deploy their Blizzard, but blown up very quickly. Cloud definitely feels to be getting the better of that matchup here.
Like, what is the entry here? Unfortunately, like, you have Kitsune Rush, you have Bob, and those have been expended now. Primal Rage available, but there's no real good nano engage because you're not playing the Ana, you're playing Kiriko with the Brig, with the Winston. I just don't think it's a good look for EXO at all. As Zerion goes over towards the Juno, so at least the speed ring I think will be a little bit more effective, a lot more effective actually if you don't have the ultimate for the Kiriko. And as much as LSU wants to play the Winston, I think the Diva was just better. Let's see if the Primal works for him.
Yeah, look, even a Space Station are trying to force the Winston in situations like this right now, but Aliseo is in a position to turn this Primal into a kill opportunity. Oh, Gucci, no! Rojaro hoovers up the snowball. That's rough. Okay. Gala brought down by Arms though at least. So some Juno on Juno violence here, and Aliseo with that Primal, just ties Sorter up for a hell of a long time. Ex Oblivione, excuse me, able to lean into this fight with some of those big ultimates and turn the tides in their favor. Jaro, not really in a great position to do much here. Canal might be able to taxi some people into the break.
Okay,
it's going to be a beam coming in. Cloud going to get taken down by Lauren, though. Again, everyone trying to play inside that Ray. Tough ask, though. It's in a bit of an awkward spot there as you see Gala's forced back on that high ground. Gucci is brought down by Sauna, though. The pulse here for Lauren could end it. No, gets the job done the old-fashioned ways. Canal is just taken down. That small health reduction on Lucio from this patch definitely makes it harder to survive through that kind of pressure. And we're going to get our checkpoint here in overtime.
I think that's a bit greedy from VP. They are definitely biting off all they can chew with that kind of take. It's a super late retake, and Gala, by the way, the reason why he had that orbital race still is because he didn't get to use it on the actual fight that mattered, the previous one, and that was the most important kill. I mean, we asked the question, what is the entry here for EXO? They do have the Primal. I think LSU did actually pilot that pretty well, but most importantly, Gala died in that exchange, never got to use the orbital ray, and then a super greedy retake with the orbital ray when they're one down straight off the bat. It's like, no, that's not going to work.
Lauren went for that pulse bomb. We talked about in the previous fight. All right, well, a lot of pulse or torpedoes on healing mode there as Virtus.pro definitely suffering some poke damage up on high. Canal picked off early. The Brig obviously the more vulnerable there. And okay, orbital ray. I think Rojaro might want to try and clear that one. Yeah, get to the back of it. See Zerion, that's quite low. Great pickup for Sauna, getting involved, realizing that the Juno was absolutely on the menu in that moment. Rojaro wins it out against Gucci there inside the castle. So VP even up against the Juno world able to prevail.
I mean, they just ignore it. You see the orbital ray come down, and Rojaro's like, who can I pick off in this situation? I'll literally fly past the orbital ray and find a member, and Diva's dueling power in that 1v1. The burst damage is so incredible. Look how low LSU is. He does not want to pop Primal here. That would be awful. And barely survives due to the Susu.
Yeah, Diva, so good here, and just very hard for Winston to deal with at these kind of ranges. So here's a Primal. Blizzard thrown out, so Aliseo actually able to avoid that. They want to try and clear this presence from the high ground. Instead, they don't VP onto the other high ground. Still, Sauna's going to be pinned there. No way to really get out of that situation by the wall. Bubble thrown down for LSA, looking to play around that now. An orbital ray from Gala is going to be popped. Still a 4-player Virtus.pro squad. Could be scary, but Canal is a Blizzard way too far ahead of that. And now, yeah, Gucci throws down the Blizzard. Cloud gets picked up as a result, and now Rojaro is in full stall mode.
That was decent. I mean, LSU was able to sort of bait out a lot of pressure. Then he just jumps away, plays the rest of the Primal, and
then... though.
You then have the Gucci Blizzard, which ends up allowing EXO to push through. And you mentioned the time, but I think they have the momentum just to be the push through. His double support ultimates coming online for EXO at just the right time. Gala's already got the orbital ray gone. Bob is going to be a bit of a factor here, but I think with the Kitsune Rush, you can burn the Bob pretty quick.
Here comes VP. High ground first is going to give Sauna a lot of optionality about where this Bob goes. And yeah, Ex Oblivione with that momentum. Get the card now in striking distance of this checkpoint. It's going to be a rally from Ange here. Okay, Ice Wall thrown up. Lauren backs up as a pulse bomb does get deployed, but it looked like it was on the shield of Canale. And Zorna's bot claims Lauren. I told you it's scary. Here's the Kitsune Rush coming down, though. Zerion pops that ultimate finally. Rajaro is in some trouble. A little bit of desperate healing from above by Gala. The torpedoes kept Rajaro in mech for a little bit longer, but Zorna needs to get firing here. Cloud taken down. The stall is going to be very hard to pull off now as Ange at least is pulled off by Canale. Aguchi's going to be in trouble. Very low, but who is going to get that damage through the Winston bubble? And Ex Oblivione do break through. And they get a 90-second timer to work with.
I mean, they need all the time they can get at this rate because a minute 30, it's going to be pretty rough, and they have to spend just about everything to get through there. Thankfully, though, LSU didn't have to play through the primal. And the cap is not that far away, so they could potentially do this in one push here. They do have to contend with the fact that Gala's about to get a pretty big ultimate here, and there's a Blizzard for Cloud, which is going to make things difficult.
Virtus.pro definitely could be considered favored here. There's a Blizzard up for Gucci at least to work with, and that Primal for Alisei has always been a free kill virtually on Sorna. He's going to use it now. Who's in the Blizzard? Basically no one. Ice Wall thrown up for Ex Oblivione to try and give them room to disengage behind, but it's Rajaro finding Gucci instead. And that Primal from Alisei hasn't found the kill as we kind of forecasted. Now 44 seconds left. Still another full fight for EXO, providing they don't stagger here, but this is always a dangerous place to be as attackers. You're out in the open. It's hard to reset with the rest of your team, and EXO have to improvise. It's going to be a rally from Ange to at least prevent them from being picked off, but VP have now both support ultimates ready.
It's just too early. Unfortunately, Ange is going to pop that rally, try and stay alive for the team, but now you have double support ultimates, as you mentioned. It should keep Rajaro alive here. Bob's coming up for Sorna as well.
Listen, but the wall means that Virtus.pro weren't standing in the Blizzard at all in the first place. Self-destruct here for Rajaro. Free mech. Refresh and Gala, of course, with that orbital array makes it very hard for EXO to come forward to fight in there at all. It's a close one in the end, but Alisei without Primal Rage can't do much more than succumb. And the time is going to expire. Virtus.pro narrowly take Eichenwalde.
Super competitive, extremely competitive. I think, again, a lot of this came down to me on the VP attacking side of just how hard it was for them to get through B. So many times they got picked up because they had a brilliant A, and I think A was a lot more contentious for the Exo side when they were on the attacking end, and they just lost too much time. Their B, unfortunately, wasn't quick enough either. They had good momentum towards the end there. Extremely good fight at the end of B to be able to even win that, and then 2 attempts on goal for C, but unfortunately both hitting the post, and really, really good ult retention economy coming through from VP. The double support ults at the end is a nail in the coffin. I mean, when you've got Ange popping rally early towards their spawn side just to try and keep the team up and the deal with aggression from VP, you just don't have the firepower to sort of survive at the end. And we talked about the fact that, you know, Winston's just get melted, and we bring down in a tight corridor in that very tight area of Eichenwalde C, your 35% attack boost across the, you know, across the entire team, all 5, all looking at Winston. LSU is gone. He's gone instantly.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like the counterpoint of Orbital Ray is that it moves, so you must exercise a basic level of coordination to sort of remain in that there. Also, make points for the AFL reference. I did catch that one. We're going to have a look at some highlights here, of course, from the end of that map. And yeah, a lot of frantic fighting sort of outside this first checkpoint.
This is huge. Raj living here was gigantic. I mean, he gets a remake and everything. And I mean, you start looking at the team comps on that side as well. It's like, dude, everyone's just trying to get back to the point as fast as possible. So I've got a huge mix, just a mixed bag of heroes. But yeah, it's didn't get a lot of distance there for VP, but they still defended so well when it came down to it.
Yeah, again, they really had to. Again, I think VP find a great opportunity here for a stagger, right? They win a fight, you know, just inside that last phase of the map, and they know that, you know, things are a little bit staggered for EXO. For them to regroup would be quite hard because there's a whole long bridge they have to join up in. So they say, okay, let's push a little bit harder. Let's go slightly more aggressive here, and Ange has to rally. And now you don't have the double support ultimate combination available for EXO in the next fight, and you best believe Gala and Canale have Qs to press.
I wonder if they could have saved that, you know? It's one of those things you have to sort of look back in the replay code or just rewind the VOD a little bit. It's like, was there an opportunity where Ange could have just held that? Because you have to think about the win condition. You know, there would have been question marks. Okay, maybe if they just got wiped on that fight, they would have lost. But when you start thinking about what is your out here, what is your actual win condition to try and win the entire map, I think you just have to retain that ultimate, especially if you're tracking ultimates on the other side as well. You know it's double support on the other side, and you need everything possible.
Yeah.
And to keep your Winston alive, you do need everything possible. And I'm still not agreeing with the Winston, but at least they're playing them close. You know, they're trying to prove it.
Yeah, it was like 35 seconds left on the timer there when Ange decided to pop rally instead. So like, there's a corner case to be made for like just resetting and coming back as a team and having that ultimate available. Either way, folks, we're going to be moving on to Runesapi momentarily. A quick break, and then we'll be jumping into our third map of the series where VP hope to sweep EXO away and eliminate them, from this final bracket. Stick around. Welcome back, folks. A competitive Akenvolder for our second map of the series here between Virtus.pro and Ex Oblivione results in another VP win. It was hard fought though. It was close, as Ex Oblivione are not about the diva so much, Kev. They want to put Aliseo on the Winston, and it was decent, but you could see the struggles that Aliseo had having to fight against Rojaro in the neutral. It's scary out there for our monkey scientist.
If he doesn't want to play the diva, I think Runesapi is a reasonable map to play towards the Ram or looking back over towards the Orisa. I think most teams have seen EMEA so far head over towards the Ram. So this actually is a good opportunity for EXO to maybe bring it back. And you said competitive Iconwall, I think both maps are competitive. I think Lijiang was super competitive as well, especially given how good that control center was for EXO. So they have a couple of good looks. I mean, I think the Orisa look still is good. They just need to sort of find a better opportunity to use it. And this could be the map where that better opportunity exists.
There's always a sense that VP act as, the VP and TM respectively can act as gatekeepers a little bit to that sort of higher echelon of play here. Especially in a tournament like this EMEA Master, with VP falling to Space Station, arguably looking like a third place team right now in terms of standings. But look, they've been put under pressure by a one-man army as well, and now Ex Oblivione to some degree. It just hasn't really resulted in any map wins for EXO, but hey, Runesapi presents a golden opportunity to get back in the series and get on the board.
Still the Winston coming on through, Diva on for Rojaro as well, so I guess don't change what isn't broken so far, except on the EXO side. I mean, they're getting close, but they're not quite winning. And I don't know, it almost feels like they're being baited into this a little bit where it's like, this is kind of working, but it's not quite there.
Punch under some pressure here. Rojaro instantly draws a beat on the Lucio, but they're able to slip away. And in the meantime, while Rojaro wasn't really peeling at all, Cloud gets battered by Aliseo. So a great opener again. The Mei picked off first is such a good sign for EXO.
Low HP for VP, and finally someone's just going to go down. EXO, they're going to convert that further onwards. So this opening dive from Aliseo, I mean, he lived through all of that. He managed to get a kill as well. Now a stag onto Rojaro, and assuming he's a solo death here, that's going to take a long time for him to come back.
You feel like Raj maybe
a solo death for sure.
Handled a little bit on Anj there to try and find the Lucio kill at the start of that fight?
Possibly, and I think maybe you should tunnel on the Ashe instead. I think that's the far more impactful kill if available. And Lucio is still pretty tricky to lock down at the best of times. Yeah. But EXO need to be able to now convert this further into some sort of an ult lead, which Zeron isn't quite far enough ahead in. Anj is, however, quite far ahead, so you want to see that beat come through tempo-wise.
Yeah, it turns out amping healing when you have a diva trying to break your face is pretty good for ult generation. Rojaro here as well, just trying to ward Gucci away from the point here, force those blinks out, then double back, sees Aliseo dive in. Rojaro still looking pretty healthy now and commanding much of the battlefield. Will at some point have to fold back and again deal with Gucci. The pressure's back on. Aliseo goes down though. Rojaro's able to find a fight against the Winston now in the open. Definitely where he's favored.
And you just see Aliseo dying at 95%. Anj just barely off the sound barrier. I mean, if the timing was slightly better for EXO, this could have been their cap. He got it to go for the tempo beat. Aliseo then turns that into a Primal Rage, and things are starting to look a lot better. But VP will be able to contest now properly, get their own meterage on board.
And support ult lead as well. Narrow as it is, does mean the next fight is going to be full of these abilities. Sound barrier for Anj. Definitely potential to be a difference maker now. Virtus.pro is still behind the 8 ball a fair bit. That first push went so badly for them now, they've still got a bit of catch up to do. Here's the orbital ray. Going to be thrown down towards Anj here, and all he wants to do is sort of stay alive for the time being, but the damage is scary. Zerion gets brought down first. Orbital ray no longer affecting EXO, but Virtus.pro could, in theory, play within its confines. Primal now for Aliseo. It's all about keeping the Ashe alive, but Bob is helping Sauna to a great degree. Definitely gives that coverage, and unfortunately, the bot from Lauren does nothing to slow VP down. They are getting close now to equalizing.
I think Anj just retained a little too long there. The flip's going to come through here, as will the cap for VP. And by the time Anj got the sound barrier, notice that he was also on low HP because they instantly got on top of him, could have Ajaxed that one. Zerion was already dead, so it's a 4-man beat, and VP already have positioning. They're already pushing up. They don't have to spend more ultimates. Blizzard's still retained by Cloud and Exo. I think they could have still been at a better spot there. They just dropped too many members too quick. Aliseo just couldn't get much done with the Primal.
Yep, and then also all of a sudden finds himself surrounded by VP players with all of Exo pushed back up onto the high ground. Not in a great position to do much about it. Nice block there for Cloud. Alessio, though, has to now find a way to get out of this alive. They are able to wait out their cooldown and get back to the fight. Rajaro, though, elsewhere, just pounces on the back line. Yep, that's the level we've come to expect from Raj on the D.Va. When EXO just get absolutely clapped, it's that impact that D.Va can have on the dive that far outstrips Winston at times like this.
He's piloting a T800 here. There's nothing on EXO that's stopping him. Rajaro can just get through the back line, clean 3 up, and this will be it right here. Ange, number 1, flies directly into Lauren. I mean, just understanding where Lauren was, even at medium range, cleaning up Alessio, so impactful. Nice. This hero is so insanely strong.
And great to get to see that from Rajaro's POV. Zerion is, well, flanking, I suppose. But at least can even the odds there, bring Sauna down. Lauren had fallen elsewhere, though. They are on a pilgrimage, virtually. Here they come.
Triple digits now, by the way.
Yep, 105 to 54. Good point, Kev. Virtus.pro really using that spawn window to get a lot of progress here now, doubling EXO's total in general. So they're happy to concede a fight here in general. Let this one go. They're verging again on those double support ultimates in the next fight.
Yep. I'll tell you what, I mean, One Man Army did manage to make a comeback of this scale when they played up against VP on Root Asapi. So, you know, it is possible, but it's like you need to be able to do a lot to be able to get that done. And VP having this lead, let's see if they can hold it with a listen in.
Primal and Clash Rally, I think.
Old rally the primal.
Are you rally down? Rally now?
Kitchen. Out. Okay, need to go back in your node.
It's there, it's monkey.
Go point. Fuck off.
Next time. I bombs.
I dodged. Stay goes.
I can nail this jump.
Just speeding in.
Above man. Atom behind.
Monkey first.
Monkey dies.
Yes, no heals. I'm taking point.
Ash flank left to trade. Ash
Both supports on me.
I'll fuck you, bro.
Let's up.
I see no spawn.
Hello.
Go back on.
Yeah, Walkman.
Yeah, please. Fuck.
Can you kill this Ash?
Go.
Brick half. Say one.
Look, the rally there turns the fight in a big way. Virtus.pro actually able to get the freeze on Alessio as they dived in. That was pretty big, but we are going to get back to at least Ex Oblivione with that checkpoint finally brought up there. Virtus.pro looked like it could have been a winning fight there, Kev, but Rajaro gets caught a little bit out in the open. That's a big pick, though. Ange falling a little cheaply. Rajaro announcing their return to the fray with a flourish.
This is the problem because Lauren, I believe, went down for EXO, so they couldn't win that cleanly. They do get the cap, which is nice, but time is still getting away from them. Cap is only stage 1. You know, they have still double the distance basically to go if they want to be able to match or flip what VP has on board. Then Ange dying in the 4v5. I mean, it is a 4v5. You're not expecting too much there, but it just goes to show that on push, on any of these push maps, if you want to try and get these long distances, it's all about winning clean fights. If VP even get a single pick here, it's just not going to be realistic for EXO to get distance at all.
VP are well equipped to do it. Lauren here playing at a very respectful distance. No Tracy here for Virtus.pro, so harder to put that pressure down on Lauren. We've seen them been able to make use of that leeway. But Alessio just straight up gets caught on the bot.
Dives in bubble. The bubble's there and he just still gets melted. I mean, what are you supposed to do to keep him alive? It's so tough.
Yeah, that upfront damage is really scary. The hindrance of the May as well doesn't help, but now Ex Oblivione aren't able to disengage fast enough, and that May wall makes it impossible.
Zerion ulting is a big question mark there as well. I mean, they do get Canale's rally out.
It's got to be in the chat, Rajaro. Yeah.
Misclick. Yeah, well, that's going to cost you. I mean, okay. You have to play perfectly in the series. If you're EXO, you are the underdog, and unfortunately, the misclick is not going to help at all. They had 2 really close maps, but I'm afraid, Mitch, this third map has not been close at all. It's now more than double the distance for VP, and they got more tempo ults on board.
The mistakes and issues are starting to compound for Ex Oblivione. They would really have liked to have had that Juno ultimate available, and Zerion says, okay, I'm going to try what I did on Eichenwalder, switch over to the Kiriko here. Again, it's good to pressure down enemy traces. There are none, though. That's the problem. VP.
The Suzu will help Alessio a little bit, because you know, the bubble is apparently not... You know when Winston's popping bubble and it's not keeping it alive, that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, when guys inside of his bubble, very concerning. That means a VP are running in numbers here. With the Juno's comp, you know what I mean? It's pretty scary. Alessio at least turns a primal into a kill once more on the Ashe, but it doesn't seem to bother VP at all. They are just going to take some extra progress.
Yeah, well, the good news for EXO is I don't think VP fully cap out the Mac, but Sauna's coming back from spawn. The Maximus staggered time there as well. It's going to take him a while to get up to speed. But with a minute 40 left, I think VP, they can just play this however they like at this stage. 3 ultimates still online. Gucci misses the pulse, which is going to be a little bit sad.
And here comes that Blizzard. Yep, Alisea caught inside of that, and that's the D.Va damage for you. Yes, Micro Rockets, and of course the primary fire just working. Winston down. Cloud, though, has to give up their life for that kind of play here. And yeah, VP might just be fed into the wood chipper here. Zerian down, sort of those popping off, and he's got the room to do so here. Gucci has been unable to neutralize the impact of the Ashe in this fight, and Rajaro sees a low health Tracer and just whips around, finishes him off. Money Blaster also accounts for Anj and a remake. Rajaro, I mean, the guy can poop gold at this point. He's doing nothing. He can't do wrong on this map.
He's my player of the match so far for VP, that's for sure. And you got embarrassment and riches here for VP, especially now that this is basically said and done. Unfortunately for EXO, I'd like to be a little bit more positive for them, but it's 56 to 128 with less than 50 seconds left to go. No ultimates, a really strange composition. Lauren now on the Widowmaker. Maybe just trying to have a little bit of fun towards the end there. Yeah. Rajaro, by the way, if you saw in that fight, he was alive on minimal HP. I'm talking less than 50 for way too long. He just would not go down and getting kills while on minimal HP.
Yeah, okay.
And then as a baby D.Va gets a kill too.
Yeah, with the Money Blaster on Anj. That's why there's some smack talk in the chat there. So a bit for Lauren.
Partial biceps of the VP.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that's an apples and orange comparison. My goodness. Zerian blown up there. Rajaro sees Kiriko asking to be sent back to spawn. And he gives him an express pass. Yeah, well, that Widow is getting defense matrixed. Kev, that's what Lauren is doing right now. Now they are in pieces. Okay, Ex Oblivione let the wheels fall off the cart, so to speak, towards the end of that map. But Virtus.pro, well and truly, a hard-fought victory in this series. And like we talked about, competitive maps, especially maps 1 and 2 there. And there was a moment, there was at least a brief point at the start of the game where, you know, EXO were able to turn 1-1 fight into that first checkpoint on Runasapi.
I think it was pretty. I think EXO could have gone to map here. Looking how Lee Jung and Eichenwalde went, they could have gone to map. And given Runasapi was super one-sided, if EXO did win a map, you know, we would go to map 4. Then suddenly the pathway to victory is still there. I just think failing to win one of those 2 close maps really was the issue, because you're allowed to have 1 bad performance on a map. Okay, maybe VP just 2 go to Runasapi, but you got to pick up 1 of Lee Jung or Eich, surely.
I mean, at the very end there too, I just felt like it all started to crumble, right? There were a lot of little mistakes, and a team like VP, we don't have to ask them twice to take advantage of literally every little inch that is being given to them. Early in the series, though, what I thought was really interesting and a very great sign for the meta in general is that EXO didn't just straight up buy into the Juno goats, whatever you call it. I forgot already. I'm disassociating from that word. No, I like that they tried something else. They figured out that the 2 notes is not working for them. So we've seen them like experiment around, and some of that did not look bad either. Like I did like the look with the Kiriko in the mix, etc. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
it was still Rissa, I think, on the first map for me. Usher Bastion actually worked.
Absolutely, especially on like control. I think they picked a good map for it as well. Like it's very hard with the Mei. The Mei is honestly like what kind of enables their comp, as she does in so many of them. And it's the Rajaro just getting blown to smithereens by the Bastion sort of over and over. This was competitive. There's a stagger, I think, towards the end of like EXO's attack side though that basically loses them the game when Anj is sort of forced to, you know, use a rally in a bit of a corner case where maybe they could have just like gone over the edge and sort of tried to reset. But I don't know if I would want to take such a big risk here. But generally, like, really hard fought. The Winston, right, was the major point of difference between these comps. And we were sort of asking the question, is it enough for Alisea to sort of, just avoid the D.Va and try to dive the backline and get big primals? The problem is that, like, the power spikes for Winston, or the moments where he's really able to take over the game, really only happen around that primal. And outside of that, you're kind of getting dog-walked by D.Va.
And speaking of D.Va, I think Raj to me was a standout here. I mean, he knows exactly what to play through. And I actually think this is a better look for VP. I wasn't hugely... I mean, I think their RAM play is fine. They can definitely take it up to the best teams on that. But where they really shine is on this sort of D.Va comp, having a little bit more poke. I mean, this is... Their DNA, for me, VP, is a poke team. Like, they are, to me, maybe the best poke team in EMEA, right next to ENCE, and I think on VP's best day, even better than ENCE on the raw poke. Now, definitely on the Juno meta with Juno enabled, that's changed a lot here because, you know, you're playing with Cloud in here who's, you know, doing a decent amount on the Mei, but finding, I think, their best look and sticking to the D.Va is going to be where VP is going to get the most out of their team moving forward.
Yeah, speaking of divas, Rajaro obviously really standing out currently on that very role, and he earned himself the player of the match honors with the performance, not just today, but also, of course, yesterday. He's putting in so much work.
Yeah, well deserved. I was really impressed. I mean, you have to do a lot of things, obviously, as Diva. We kind of know this. Your role is definitely split between like going on the offense and trying to peel when possible. But Rajaro is finding like it's in very unlikely like situations where they're able to dive solo and find 2 kills, like just as Diva, no nano, no nothing, really just going on in there, and that's great, especially because you have without a tracer, like you're playing Ashe May, so you don't have the best way to put pressure down on the enemy Ashe outside of like either shooting her or getting Rajaro to run up on her. So like without the tracer, you need to be that much more aggressive. Rajaro's like finding like multiple 2 and 3K scenarios there with the Diva, and like the bunny blaster kill was hilarious as well. So I think just really getting to show off just how good they are on that hero, and it couldn't be matched. I mean, EXO didn't want to match Diva.